Well, Gaffer, a couple of steps forward in terms of the performance last night. Obviously, in terms of the result, not what you're looking for.
No, not the result we wanted, and just out of a bit of a bad patch. Performance-wise, first half I thought we were good. There was nothing I could be too critical of in the first half, apart from, similar to the Plymouth game, we just didn't finish our chances, and that was the real problem, because we knew they'd played quite a few games. Their fourth game in 8 days, and psychologically I think if we'd have gone ahead it would have caused them a real problem, but because we didn't, they kept their energy. But yeah, on another night, and at the moment it's a bit ifs and buts, and that's what I mean about that. I mean, if Broomy scores and Sammy scores and Jono scores, three really good, Sammy had a couple, 3 or 4 really good chances, just to take even one of them to go in at half time ahead, I think we would have gone and won the game comfortably. We didn't. It meant they had energy. They started the second half better. We've then lost a really, really soft goal, and psychologically that changes games. Then we've lost a really soft second goal, but even when Jono scored, I thought we can still win this. I have to say, after Jono scored, I thought we huffed and puffed a little bit and didn't create as many chances as I thought we would have done. So yeah, performance-wise, on another night we win that comfortably. We didn't. It's the way it's going at the moment. The performance levels were far better than certainly the previous 2 league games we've lost, the Blackpool and Crewe game. And we've just got to make sure we keep believing in what we're doing and hopefully go to Portsmouth and get a result.
Yeah, and without making excuses, obviously you look at some of the players you do have out are important players to the way that you play. Obviously Butts was missing yesterday, obviously Joe Ward, he's in a natural balance, but also Ricky gives you something that you don't have, and with all those elements thrown into the mix, it can be frustrating when you're missing those types of players.
Yeah, I mean it happens in the course of a season. The injuries we've picked up. Nathan Thompson picked up an injury when he was in really good form. Joe Ward in really good form, most assists in the league. Dan Butler naturally plays as a wing back. Ricky, we've missed his pace, but you have to get on with it. But players like Ward, Butler and Thompson in really good form when they picked up their injuries. And of course, playing 3 at the back, Ward and Butler are the most natural wing backs we've got. So obviously last night we went with Fraser and Broomy, who can do a job there. But it wasn't about that why we lost the game. We just weren't clinical enough. People have got to start scoring goals when we have chances. That's their job. And I know it sounds so obvious, but we've got to start getting clean sheets. 1 and 7 is nowhere near good enough. We're losing too many goals from set pieces. It's easy for me to say because the opposition will know that anyway. So we've got to make sure that we shore up. We need to make sure we start being a bit more ruthless in both boxes, because it's not the first time we've said this. I'll go back to the Plymouth game. We're hanging on a little bit. When I say hanging on, they've got hope because it's only 1. It should be 5. Last night, game should be over at half time.
With Ricky, obviously he's only a couple of weeks, 3 weeks away from probably coming back into your thinking, but when you look at someone like that, because he I suppose from your point of view in terms of formations, he can actually play as a wide left, he can play as one of the 3, he can play as a striker. Does that versatility, is that going to be key when you do get him back, because it does give you more option?
Yeah, I think he does give you more options. I've seen him play wide very well, coming off the left. Obviously I've played him mainly as a striker because I like to play with 2 strikers. What we miss is out and out pace, especially when you're winning games. Like the Plymouth game, for a good example, they're putting balls forward. He would have pressed that, and his pace would have meant they go 10 yards deeper. So we have missed him. I know he's only young, but last season he had quite a few games. So it'll be good when he comes back. Mo, obviously I left him out of the 18. I think he needs to really have a look at where he's at the moment and an honest conversation with him. Could possibly bring him back in to the 18 for the Portsmouth game. So yeah, I think with Ricky, I think we need him back because he's out and out pace.
Yeah, Mo, not in the 18 last night. I guess with any striker, they're going to go through dips in confidence in terms of in front of goal. I suppose you're looking at the whole package though, more than just chances, aren't you, as a striker, particularly in the way that we play.
Yeah, I had an honest conversation with the boy, and he's not the only one I have. I mean, sometimes I think as a manager, I speak to players, and sometimes just to take them out and say, look, you need to just mentally have a rest. And obviously, the boy, in fairness, has been frustrating for him. He hasn't been playing regularly, and he is a player that doesn't need to play that way. He went to Bristol, didn't play regular. He's not that. But I can only pick a team to, and I've given him the reasons why. You know, the player I would say probably that he's having to challenge at the moment is Jono, and Jono's doing well and scoring goals. So, and obviously Dembele gives you that something special. But I feel, you know, we've got to make sure at the moment we get back to being more ruthless in both boxes. That's the key.
In terms of Portsmouth then on Saturday, obviously they had a defeat against Blackpool, but generally probably, like us, they had a great run of results, and then they've dipped a little bit and they've been a bit inconsistent. Are they a typical style in this league this year, because no one is running away with it? Hull have got a few points together recently, but no one's going to be stretching away.
No, I think, you know, there's been a fair level of consistency with the teams that are up there, us included, you know. And sometimes what you get, it doesn't matter how you do it, it's what points you get to, and that's why I always focus on the points as opposed to where we are in the league, up until it really matters. So, for ourselves, for example, we're 2 points off where I would like us to be. Hull are 4 or 5 points ahead of where they would probably want to be. So they've been the most consistent team. And then after that, it's a bunch group. You know, Tuesday and Wednesday night showed exactly what the league's about. The top 8 only 2-1. That's why for me, I spoke about how important it was. If we'd have got that win last night, it would have given us a little bit of a gap. But I think there's been a fair level of consistency from the teams at the top, Portsmouth being one of those. What's happened with us is we've had an unbelievable October. But if we'd had 2 or 3 defeats in October and still got the same points, you'd probably say, well, we're third. We're having a little bit of a dip at the moment, but teams will have dips. We've got to make sure that we get out of it as quickly as we can. And I do feel that if we get the performance levels of last night, the first half in particular, we'll win a lot more games than we'll lose. And then people have got to take responsibility and start doing their jobs, scoring goals, keeping clean sheets. And Portsmouth have been quite similar. But Portsmouth are a good team. They're going to be up there. You know, they're strong, experienced manager, and some very good players.
Yeah. It's probably why that phrase of not going too high and not going too low, depending on results, is so key, particularly in this season, because, you know, in-house, nobody was up there when we were winning games, and equally down here, it's exactly the same. But supporters can get wrapped up in that, and that's probably why, as you say, when you said about you're the best team in the world or you're the worst team in the world, it's so high and low, isn't it? There's no middle ground as a supporter. I guess that's probably why people get so frustrated so many times. Yeah,
I think it is like that, and then supporters, you know, they want to see their team winning games, and whether they've won 10 in the bounce, they still want them to win that 11th. That's football, and that's, you know, I've been in the game long enough to know that's what it's all about. That's all that matters, is winning games of football. And at the moment, we're not winning enough, and on the back of that, you get criticised, and that's part and parcel of it. What I've got to do as a manager is maintain my level of composure and make sure that also we keep believing in each other, which we are. And you could see that from last night. And we're good enough to pick up points again. There's no doubt about that. And we've got to make sure that we go to Portsmouth and give a good performance. And you hope on the day that's good enough.
Yeah. So Dan Butler definitely missed it the weekend. Obviously Ricky definitely missed it the weekend. Joe definitely missed it the weekend. Is the rest because it's so quick of a turnaround from last night? You have to assess it tomorrow.
Nah, the players fine today. They seem okay. Jono's better, so I think the game will bring him on. I think the game will bring Tomo on. So no, the players, the ones that weren't involved, that had a session with me this morning, were very good, very lively. So yeah, I think everyone is recovered. It's obviously one less day than you would normally have. We've also got another long journey tomorrow, but we're going to get them in a little bit later, travel a little bit later. Won't do much with them tomorrow. We'll just walk through 1 or 2 things that we need to do. So yeah, there'll be no excuses about fatigue or anything like that. We'll be fine in that aspect.